The night was quiet. Too quiet. The small farming colony usually slept early. Only the wind moved through the long grass, whispering against the wooden fences. The pigs were already asleep in their pen, and the old farm dog rested with one eye half open. Inside the farmhouse, Thomas Hale, a middle-aged farmer, sat by the fire. He was tired from a long day of work. His land was not rich, but it was enough to feed him and keep him alive on this distant human colony world. He was just about to close his eyes when he heard it. Bang, bang, bang. Someone was hitting the farm gate. Hard. Thomas froze. Few people visited his farm at night. Nobody came after dark, not unless something was wrong. He stood up slowly, reaching for the old shotgun he kept by the door. He did not load it, but holding it gave him courage. The dog growled low, the hair on its back standing. The banging came again, faster this time. Then a voice. A strange, shaking voice. Please, human, please let my child in. Thomas's heart jumped. The voice was not human. It was thin, sharp, almost insect-like, with a strange echo that made the words sound broken. His hands tightened on the gun. For a moment he thought maybe he had dreamed it, but then the voice came again, more desperate. I will even wash your pigs. Just let us in. Thomas stepped to the window. Moonlight showed the shape of a figure outside the gate. Tall, thin, bending low as if carrying something. The figure's skin shone like dark glass. Behind her, something small moved, another shape, crouched weak, maybe a child, an alien. Thomas swallowed hard. He had heard the stories. The colony law was strict. No aliens inside human territory. Aliens were not welcome. The soldiers said it was for safety. The elders said aliens could not be trusted. But here one was, right at his gate, begging. He opened the window a crack. What do you want? His voice was firm, but not cruel. The tall figure lifted her head. Even in shadow, he saw her large eyes glowing faintly gold. She held a small bundle close to her chest. Her voice cracked as she spoke. My child, he is sick. The cold will kill him. Please, human. Give him shelter. I will work. I will clean. I will serve you. Just let him live. Thomas felt his stomach twist. He was no fool. If soldiers found an alien in his house, he could lose everything, his farm, his freedom, maybe even his life. But as he looked closer, he saw the small child. The alien child clung to his mother's shoulder, coughing softly, body trembling from the night air. The farmer's dog barked suddenly, loud and sharp. The noise echoed across the land. From far away, Thomas thought he saw a flash of light. Patrol lights. Soldiers, maybe. They often checked the edges of farms at night, searching for smugglers or runaways. His breath caught in his throat. The alien mother stepped closer to the gate, falling to her knees. I beg you, please let my child in. I have nothing else to give. I will do anything. I will even wash your pigs. Her words were broken, desperate. They almost sounded strange coming from such a tall, strange creature. Washing pigs, what did she know of human farms? But Thomas heard the truth in her tone. She was terrified. The child coughed again. The sound was soft but sharp in the silence of the night. Too loud. If the soldiers were near, they might hear. Thomas's mind raced. He could slam the window shut, pretend he never saw her. That was the safe choice. No trouble, no danger. But as he looked at the small figure shaking in the alien mother's arms, something inside him refused. He remembered when his own daughter had been small, before sickness took her. The memory hurt, but it also softened him. The banging on the gate stopped. The alien woman lowered her head as if giving up. I understand, she whispered. No human will help us. They never do. She turned to lift her child and walk away. Wait, Thomas said. His voice surprised even himself. The alien froze. Slowly she turned back. Her golden eyes met his through the dark. For a long moment no one spoke. The cold wind pressed between them, carrying the sound of distant boots, maybe soldiers moving on patrol. Time was running out. Thomas opened the door. He did not open it wide, just enough to step outside. He held the gun tight, though he kept the barrel pointed down. If I let you in, he said slowly, you bring no trouble here. You work, you keep quiet, and you tell me the truth. Understand? The alien nodded fast, too fast, as if afraid he might change his mind. Yes, human. Yes, I understand, Thomas sighed, heavy and long. He looked at the sky, at the faint patrol lights sweeping farther in the distance. He looked at the child, coughing weakly, his small arms wrapped tight around his mother. Then, with a rough push, Thomas unlocked the gate. Get inside quickly. The alien mother hurried forward, holding her child close. She slipped past him into the yard, moving silently except for the child's cough. The dog barked once more, but then grew quiet, as if it, too, understood something serious was happening. Thomas locked the gate behind them and whispered, "Stranger or not, you better pray I don't regret this." The alien bowed her head. "You will not regret." "Thank you, human. Thank you." But Thomas did not feel safe. The night was no longer quiet. Somewhere beyond the fields, soldiers were moving, and he had just let danger into his own home. And yet, for the first time in years, his lonely farmhouse did not feel empty. The farmhouse was silent except for the crackling fire. Thomas closed the door behind the alien mother and her child, locking it tight. The dog sniffed the air, uneasy but calm enough to sit back down. Thomas set the shotgun on the table, though he kept it close just in case. The alien mother stood tall but trembling, her long arms wrapped around her child. Her skin looked like dark stone, smooth but cracked with faint glowing lines. Her golden eyes moved quickly, searching every corner of the room as if danger might still follow them inside. Her child clung to her chest. The boy's breathing was shallow, his small body shaking from cold. His skin was softer, lighter than his mother's, but the same golden eyes looked out weakly from his face. Thomas broke the silence first. "Sit by the fire. Warm the boy." The alien hesitated, then slowly lowered herself onto the rug. The firelight touched her face, making her look both strange and fragile. She held her child close, rubbing his thin arms to bring warmth. For a moment, the only sound was the child's weak cough. Thomas poured water from a jug into a tin cup and handed it over. "Drink, both of you." The alien whispered a word of thanks and helped her child sip. The boy's hand shook as he held the cup, spilling drops on the floor. Thomas did not mind. His eyes stayed on them, sharp but not unkind. Finally he asked, "What's your name?" The alien lowered her head. "My name is Arya. My son is Leo." "Arya," Thomas repeated slowly. The name felt strange but not unpleasant. "You know it's illegal for you to be here. If soldiers find out—" "I know," she cut in softly. Her voice trembled but carried a strange strength. "But if I had stayed out there, Leo would be dead by morning. He has fever. He cannot survive the cold." Thomas studied her face. She did not look like a fighter. She looked like a mother, tired and afraid, yet ready to give everything for her child. "Where are you from?" he asked. Arya hesitated. For a moment he thought she would lie, but then she spoke. "From the mountains beyond the colony line. My people are not allowed here. The soldiers say we are dangerous," Thomas snorted. "Dangerous? You look half-starved." Arya looked at him with tired eyes. "We are not dangerous. We are only unwanted." The words hung heavy in the air. Thomas said nothing. He sat down on the other chair, rubbing his rough hands together. Outside, the wind howled louder. He glanced at the window. In the distance, faint searchlights swept across the fields. The patrols were close. Too close. Arya saw it too. She pulled Leo tighter into her arms, whispering in her own language. The child whimpered softly, then hid his face against her chest. Thomas's voice was low. "If they come here and find you, I'll lose everything. Why should I risk that for you?" Arya lifted her head. Her golden eyes burned bright in the firelight. "Because you are human," she said, "and humans believe in mercy." "Do you not?" Thomas opened his mouth but found no answer. The memory of his daughter returned again, her soft cries, her small hand in his before sickness took her away. He looked at Leo, weak and coughing, and the image hurt him. He growled under his breath. "Mercy is a dangerous thing." Arya's lips trembled. "Danger is already here. If soldiers find us, they will kill him. Not me. Him, because he is different." Thomas frowned. "Different? He looks the same as you." Her eyes dropped to the boy. "Not the same, Leo is not fully of my kind." Thomas sat up straighter. "What do you mean?" But before she could answer, the dog barked sharply at the door. Everyone froze. Boots crunched outside on the gravel. A beam of light swept across the window. Patrol. Thomas's heart hammered. He grabbed the shotgun, pointing Arya toward the shadows. "Stay quiet. Don't move." Arya curled around Leo, hiding him beneath her cloak, her body shaking as she crouched low in the corner. Knock, knock, knock. "Open up. Routine check." "The soldiers," Thomas swallowed, forcing his face calm. He stepped to the door, shotgun lowered but ready. He opened it just a crack. Two soldiers stood outside, helmets shining under the moonlight. Their rifles glinted cold. One leaned forward. "Evening, farmer. Seen anyone suspicious? Reports of alien movement near here." Thomas forced a shrug. "Only thing moving tonight is the wind." The soldier narrowed his eyes, glancing past Thomas into the house. The fire flickered warmly behind him. "Mind if we come in?" Thomas's grip tightened on the door. "House is private. No strangers inside." The second soldier frowned. "We're not strangers. We're law." Silence. The dog growled deep low, ready to strike. Then a small sound broke the night. A cough, weak but clear. Thomas's blood turned cold. He glanced back. Arya's eyes widened in the shadows. She held Leo close, pressing his face against her chest, but it was too late. The soldiers had heard. The first soldier stepped forward. What was that? Thomas's mind raced. He had one chance. One lie to save them. He let out a harsh laugh. That? Just the dog choking on smoke. Old fool can't breathe right when the fire's strong. The soldiers exchanged doubtful looks. The dog barked again, as if to prove his master's story. After a tense pause, the first soldier spat on the ground. Keep your mutt quiet. Next time we hear something, we search. Without another word, they turned and marched away, boots fading into the dark. Thomas shut the door, locking it fast. His hand shook as he leaned against the wood, his heart racing. He looked at Arya. She was still in the shadows, clutching her child, her golden eyes wet with tears of relief. You risked everything, she whispered. Thomas rubbed his face. No, I risked nothing yet. But I will if you stay. The fire crackled louder. The night outside seemed colder, the danger heavier, and Thomas knew his quiet life was over. The farmhouse was quiet again, but it was not the same silence as before. Thomas sat at the table, staring into the fire. His hands rubbed the handle of the shotgun, though it was resting across his lap. He could not sleep. His mind was heavy with questions. Arya and her child Leo lay on the floor near the warm hearth. The boy finally slept, though his breathing was still uneven. Arya sat upright, her arms curled protectively around him. Her golden eyes reflected the firelight, watchful and distant as if she never allowed herself to rest. The wind outside howled, rattling the windows. Every gust made Thomas think of boots crunching on gravel, of soldiers returning. He could not forget the sound of Leo's cough nearly giving them away. He had lied to the patrol once, but next time they might search. He leaned forward, speaking in a low voice. You didn't tell me the full truth. Arya's gaze flicked to him. She said nothing. Thomas pointed at the boy. You said he was different. Not like you. What did you mean? Arya lowered her head, her long fingers brushing the boy's cheek. For a moment, her face softened. Then she whispered, Humans will not accept what he is. They will call him a threat. Thomas frowned. A threat? He looks like any alien child, her eyes flashed. Not alien. Not fully. Silence filled the room. Thomas's stomach tightened. The words settled in his mind like a stone. He leaned back, his chair creaking. What are you saying? Arya looked straight at him. Her voice trembled, but her words were clear. Leo is half human. Thomas froze. For a moment he thought he had misheard. Half human? That was impossible. No, worse than impossible. It was forbidden. His voice came out rough. That can't be. Arya pulled her cloak tighter around the boy. It is. His father was human. A man from this colony. He is gone now, taken by soldiers when they discovered the truth. But Leo is proof that our blood can join. Proof that humans and my kind are not enemies by nature. Thomas's hands clenched around the shotgun. His heart pounded. If the colony ever discovered this, if the soldiers learned of it, the boy would not be spared. He would be destroyed, maybe even studied like an animal. Thomas whispered harshly, You brought him here? To this farm? Do you understand what danger you've put on me? Arya lifted her chin. Her golden eyes blazed with sudden fire. Yes, I understand. But where else could I go? My people hide in caves. The soldiers hunt them. Humans close their doors. If no one shows mercy, my son dies. Her voice cracked as she clutched the boy closer. I would rather risk your anger than watch him freeze in the dark. Thomas stared at her. He wanted to shout. He wanted to throw her out. But his anger cracked when he looked at the boy. Leo stirred in his sleep, his small hand slipping out from the cloak. Thomas's breath caught. The hand looked almost human. not the hard stone-like skin of his mother. Softer, closer to Thomas's own. He swallowed hard. The truth was staring him in the face. For a long time, neither of them spoke. The fire popped and hissed. The dog shifted restlessly, sensing the tension. Finally, Thomas spoke again, softer this time. "Why tell me now?" Arya's voice dropped low. "Because you deserve to know what you are hiding. And because I heard the soldiers tonight. They will return. When they do, they will search every corner. If they find him, your lie will not protect us." Thomas rubbed his temples. "So you think honesty makes this better?" "No," she whispered. "But perhaps it makes you understand why I beg. He is not only my child. He carries part of you, your kind, inside him. To protect him is not betrayal. It is survival. For both our races." Her words struck deeper than Thomas expected. He sat back, staring at the fire, his thoughts tangled. A half-human child. A living secret that could change everything. But outside danger was closing in. He could feel it. Suddenly, Leo coughed again, louder this time. His small body twisted, sweat shining on his skin. Arya panicked, holding him tighter. She whispered to him in her strange language, rocking gently. But Thomas saw the truth. The boy was getting worse. "Fever. He needs medicine," Thomas muttered. Arya nodded desperately. "Yes, I know herbs, but not enough. Humans guard medicine. I cannot get it." Thomas stood, pacing the room. The nearest settlement was 3 miles away. Soldiers patrolled the path every night. To walk there with aliens in his house was madness. But if he did nothing, the boy might not survive another day. He stopped by the window. The fields were dark, but beyond them he saw faint beams of light moving again. Patrols. They were sweeping closer this time. He turned back to Arya. "You can't stay here long. If he doesn't get medicine, he won't make it. And if soldiers come back, neither will I." Arya looked up at him, eyes shining with fear and hope. "Then what will you choose, human? Save yourself, or save him?" Thomas did not answer. His mind churned, torn between fear and something he had not felt in years. Duty, not to law, but to life. The dog barked suddenly, sharp and fierce. Lights flickered against the window. The patrol was closer than ever. Arya gasped, pulling Leo against her chest. "They are coming back." Thomas gripped the shotgun. His decision pressed on him like a weight. He had let them in. He had lied once already. But now, with the soldiers nearly at his door, the secret was bigger, the danger greater. He looked at the half-human child, breathing weakly in his mother's arms, and Thomas Hale knew that secrets could not stay hidden forever. The dog barked again, sharper this time, its body tense and nose pressed against the door. Thomas froze where he stood, shotgun in hand. Through the window, beams of light swept across the farmland. The soldiers had returned closer than before. Their boots crunched heavy on the gravel road. Voices carried faintly on the wind, hard, cold, and trained. Arya clutched Leo against her chest. The boy stirred, feverish and weak. His cough escaped again, small but sharp in the silence. Thomas's stomach tightened.
"Any sound now could ruin them all," he whispered harshly. "Quiet him."
Arya wrapped her cloak tighter, rocking her son, whispering in her alien tongue. But the boy could not stop coughing. His small body shook. Then came the knock, hard, demanding. "Open up! This is a patrol check!" Thomas's blood ran cold. He had expected this, yet the sound still froze him. He looked at Arya. Her golden eyes were wide, shining with fear. Another knock, louder. "Farmer Hale, we know you're inside." "Open the door!" They knew his name. That meant they had already checked his farm on their list. They would not leave until they were satisfied. Thomas turned to Arya, voice low and sharp. "Get to the cellar now," Arya hesitated. "But now." His voice cut through the air like a blade. She obeyed, rushing to the small trapdoor beneath the rug. She pulled it open with her long fingers, descending quickly with Leo in her arms. The boy whimpered once, but she covered his mouth and disappeared into the dark. Thomas yanked the rug back over the hatch, hiding all trace. The knocking turned to pounding. "Last warning, Hale." Thomas straightened, heart hammering. He forced his face calm, wiping the sweat from his brow. Then he opened the door. 3 soldiers stood there this time, not 2. Their helmets reflected the firelight. Rifles gleamed in their hands. The leader, taller than the rest, stepped forward. "Evening, farmer," he said coldly. "We've had reports. Aliens moving through this sector. We searched the ridge. Tracks lead this way. Thomas leaned on the door frame, shotgun resting across his arm like it was part of him. He kept his voice slow, steady. You see aliens in this house, soldier? Oh, just me, my pigs, and my dog. The soldier's eyes narrowed. Mind if we check for ourselves? Thomas's jaw tightened. He had expected this. He gave a hard smile. You got a warrant? The soldier's lips curled. We don't need one. Colony law gives us full right to search. Before Thomas could answer, the soldier pushed past him, stepping into the farmhouse. The other two followed, boots heavy on the wooden floor. The dog growled, baring its teeth. Thomas called it off with a sharp whistle, though his own blood boiled. He shut the door, locking them all inside together. The soldiers moved quickly, checking corners, peering into cupboards, even lifting blankets. The leader stood in the center, eyes scanning the room. His gaze stopped on the rug by the fire. The rug Arya had just pulled over the trapdoor. Thomas's heart skipped. The soldier stepped closer, boots heavy. He nudged the rug with his rifle. What's under here? Thomas forced a laugh. Old boards. Place is falling apart. You want to check? Go ahead, you'll find more dirt than you can carry. The soldier smirked. Slowly, he began to move the rug aside. Down below in the cellar, Arya held her breath. Her arms pressed tight around Leo, who trembled in silence. One wrong cough, one small sound, and it would all be over. The rug shifted. The soldier's boots scraped wood. His rifle tapped against the floorboards, listening for hollows. Then the dog barked, loud and sudden. It leapt toward the table, knocking a pot onto the floor. The clatter rang sharp in the silence. The soldier spun, rifle raised. What's that? Thomas spread his arms. That's my dinner ruined thanks to your stomping around. You finished yet, or do you plan on tearing down the walls too? The soldier glared. For a tense moment, Thomas thought the man would demand to lift the boards, but then the leader shook his head. Nothing here, he muttered. One of the others frowned. But the tracks, maybe they passed through and kept moving. Not our problem now. The leader turned back to Thomas. His voice was sharp. If we find out you're hiding them, farmer, you'll hang for treason. Remember that. Thomas met his gaze coldly. Then don't waste your time here. My pigs need feeding. The soldiers hesitated, but finally stepped back. One by one, they left the farmhouse, slamming the door behind them. Thomas stood there, breathing hard, sweat dripping down his temple. He waited until their boots faded, until the lights moved away into the fields. Only then did he let out the breath he had been holding. Slowly, he pulled the rug aside and opened the trap door. Arya climbed out, clutching Leo. Her face was pale, her golden eyes filled with tears. You saved us again, she whispered. Thomas wiped his brow. His voice was rough. Don't thank me. They'll be back. Next time I may not be able to lie. Arya nodded, holding her child close. Then we must leave soon. Thomas looked at Leo. The boy's fever was worse. His face was flushed, his breathing ragged. Time was running out. Thomas clenched his jaw. If you want him to live, he needs medicine. And the only place to get it is the settlement. Arya's eyes widened. But the soldiers, I know, Thomas cut in. They'll kill us if we're caught. But if we don't try, your boy doesn't survive the night. The fire crackled. The farmhouse felt smaller, tighter, filled with danger. Thomas knew the truth. His life of quiet farming was gone. He was no longer just a farmer. He was hiding a secret that could burn the whole colony. And now, with soldiers circling closer, the only way forward was through fire. He looked at Arya, then at the boy. We move at dawn. The first light of dawn touched the sky, pale and cold. Thomas Hale tightened the straps of his old coat and checked the shotgun one last time. His farm, his animals, his quiet life, he looked at them as if seeing them for the last time. Because deep inside he knew he might never return. Arya stood by the door, her cloak wrapped around Leo. The boy was weaker now, his face hot with fever, his breathing shallow. He stirred once, whispering something in his mother's tongue, then fell silent again. Thomas nodded toward the back door. We go through the fields. Patrols stick to the road. Arya clutched her child closer. Will the medicine help him? If we can get it, Thomas answered. He did not look at her. He kept his eyes on the horizon, on the faint smoke rising from the human settlement 3 miles away. Between them and that smoke were soldiers, fences, and death if they were caught. The dog padded beside him, silent but alert. Its ears twitched at every sound. Thomas trusted the animal more than he trusted himself. They slipped out the back. The air was sharp cold, biting through their clothes. Dew covered the grass, soaking their boots. Birds stirred in the trees, but even their song felt nervous. Every step was heavy. Every sound seemed too loud. The first mile passed in silence. Arya moved lightly, even with her tall frame and the weight of her child. She kept glancing back, her golden eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Thomas noticed, but he did not speak. He was listening for soldiers. Then the dog stopped. Its body stiffened, nose pointing east. Thomas froze. He lifted a hand, signaling Arya to stay still. Voices drifted through the wind. Harsh human voices patrol. Thomas pulled Arya down into the grass. Together they crouched low, hiding among the tall stalks. The voices grew louder. Boots stamped the earth. Metal clinked. Through the blades of grass, Thomas saw them. 5 soldiers walking in a line, rifles across their shoulders, eyes scanning the fields. They were moving slow, careful. Hunting. Leo whimpered weakly. Arya pressed his face against her chest, rocking gently. But the sound carried. One soldier paused, turning his head. "You hear that?" Thomas's heart slammed in his chest. He gripped the shotgun, ready to fight. His finger itched on the trigger. The soldier squinted into the grass. For a long, terrible moment, Thomas thought it was over. But then the man cursed under his breath. "Damn birds. Always crying at dawn." The others laughed quietly and the patrol kept moving. Their voices faded into the distance. Thomas let out a slow breath. He had not realized he was holding it. His hands trembled as he lowered the shotgun. Arya's eyes met his. They shone with gratitude but also fear. Fear for what might happen next. "We keep moving," Thomas whispered. "Stay close." They rose from the grass and pressed on. The sun climbed higher, spilling gold across the fields. In the distance, the settlement's walls grew clearer. Thomas could see the watchtowers, the guards, the thin trail of smoke from cooking fires. Safety or a trap. Leo coughed again, harder this time. His whole body shook. Arya nearly stumbled, clutching him tighter. Thomas stopped, looking at the boy. His skin was pale under the fever's flush. Sweat rolled down his forehead. "He won't last long," Thomas muttered. Arya's voice cracked. "Then we must hurry." They reached the edge of the last field. Beyond it stretched open ground, bare earth leading straight to the settlement walls. No cover. Anyone watching would see them. Thomas cursed under his breath. He scanned the watchtowers. 2 guards stood high, rifles ready. Too far to shoot clean, but close enough to spot movement. The dog growled low. Thomas followed its gaze and saw another danger. A patrol wagon rolling slowly along the road, pulled by an engine mule. 2 soldiers inside, searching. They were trapped between eyes above and boots below. Arya's voice shook. "What do we do?" Thomas thought fast. Running meant death. Hiding meant capture. But maybe there was another way. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small tin. Inside were old farm tools, nails, and wire. He had packed them in case. He worked quickly, bending and tying the wire around a fence post, creating a crude noise trap. He turned to Arya. "When the wagon comes close, this will snap. It'll draw them that way. We move the other way." Arya frowned. "And if they catch us?" "Then I shoot and you run." Her eyes widened, but she said nothing. She only held Leo tighter. The wagon rolled closer. The guards in the tower turned their heads, watching it. Thomas pulled the wire hard. It snapped with a sharp metallic twang. The noise echoed. The wagon slowed, soldiers jumping out. "What was that?" One barked. They moved toward the sound. "Now," Thomas hissed. They ran. Boots pounded the earth. The dog sprinted ahead, silent as a shadow. Arya ran faster than Thomas expected, her cloak flying behind her, child clutched tight. Thomas kept pace, his shotgun heavy but ready. Shouts rang out behind them. "Stop! Stop or we fire!" Bullets cracked the air. Dirt exploded at Thomas's feet. He kept running. The walls loomed closer, the gate just ahead. Then a horn blared from the settlement. Guards in the tower raised their rifles, aiming down. Not at the patrol wagon, but at Thomas and Arya. Thomas's stomach dropped. They weren't running towards safety. They were running straight into another trap. He skidded to a stop, breath ragged. Arya nearly collided with him, clutching her child. Behind them, soldiers shouted, closing in. In front of them, rifles pointed, ready to fire. They were caught between death on both sides. Thomas tightened his grip on the shotgun. His voice was low, grim. "Looks like we make our stand here." Arya's golden eyes blazed in the morning light. She pulled Leo close, whispering fiercely, "No, we fight, but not for us." For him! The dog growled, hackles raised. The world held its breath. The sun had risen, burning away the mist and turning the farmland gold. But for Thomas Hale, there was no beauty in the morning. He stood on bare earth, shotgun in his hands, his heart racing like a war drum. Behind him, soldiers shouted, their boots pounding closer. Ahead, guards on the settlement wall raised their rifles. Black barrels pointed straight at him. They were trapped. Arya held Leo close to her chest. The boy's face burned with fever, sweat dripping down his small cheeks. His breath came in shallow gasps, every one weaker than the last. Arya's golden eyes blazed with desperation. Thomas's dog growled, pacing at his feet. Even the animals sensed the cage tightening around them. "Drop your weapon, farmer," a guard shouted from the wall. His voice carried strong in the morning air. "Step away from the alien now." Thomas's grip tightened on the shotgun. His voice came out low, steady. "If I drop this, you'll kill them. They're not human." The guard barked back. "The law is clear. Step aside or face the penalty." Penalty. Thomas knew what that meant. Execution. The soldiers behind would not hesitate. The guards ahead would not hesitate. The colony had no mercy for aliens. And if they discovered the truth, that the boy was half human, the law would be even more cruel. They would not see Leo as a child. They would see him as a threat. Thomas glanced at Arya. Her face was pale, but her eyes met his. She said nothing, but in her gaze he saw her plea. Save him. A memory stabbed Thomas's heart. His own daughter, coughing in her bed years ago, her tiny hand clutching his until her last breath. He had been powerless then, but now he had a choice. He lifted his shotgun high. "Listen," his voice thundered across the fields. The guard stiffened. Even the soldiers slowed, surprised. "This child is not your enemy. He is sick. He needs medicine, not bullets." A murmur rippled along the wall. The leader guard raised his rifle higher. "Shut your mouth, Hale. That thing doesn't belong here." Thomas's voice grew louder, stronger. "He belongs more than you know. He carries human blood. He is proof that our kind and theirs can share the same life." The words exploded into the morning like fire. Soldiers behind gasped. Guards on the wall exchanged sharp looks. Some lowered their rifles in shock. Others gripped them tighter. Arya's eyes widened. She had never spoken the secret so boldly. But Thomas had shouted it to the world. The leader guard roared in anger. "Lies, that's blasphemy against the colony law." But Thomas stepped forward, placing himself between the rifles and the alien mother. His shotgun pointed at the ground, but his voice cut like steel. "No, it's truth. Kill him and you kill part of us." Behind him, the soldiers closed in. One raised his weapon. The dog barked, teeth bared. The tension snapped like a wire pulled too tight. "Fire!" The guard on the wall shouted. Bullets cracked. Thomas spun, firing his shotgun. The blast tore the silence apart, smoke filling the air. A soldier fell back, screaming. The others shouted, raising rifles. Arya screamed too, clutching Leo tight, dropping to the ground. Bullets tore through the dirt around her, but she curled her body over her child, shielding him with her own flesh. The dog leapt, teeth sinking into a soldier's arm, dragging him down. Chaos exploded across the field. Thomas fired again, his old shotgun booming. A guard on the wall staggered back. Another bullet ripped through Thomas's coat, grazing his side. Pain burned, but he did not fall. He stood like a wall, shielding Arya and Leo with his own body. Then through the smoke and noise, a single voice rose. One of the younger guards on the wall. "Stop, he's telling the truth." All eyes turned. The young man lowered his rifle, his face pale. "I saw the boy. His hand, it looks human." Whispers spread along the wall. Doubt cracked the soldiers' resolve. Some lowered their guns, confused. The leader guard snarled. "Shut your mouth, coward. Fire, all of you!" But the hesitation was enough. Thomas turned to Arya, shouting over the chaos. "Run now!" Arya's eyes filled with tears. "What about you?" "I'll hold them." "Save him." For one moment, time froze between them. Then she nodded, clutching her son, and ran toward the far fields, cloak flying like dark wings. Thomas turned back to the soldiers, teeth bared, shotgun raised. "Come then. If you want blood, take mine." They charged. The dog growled, lunging again. The air filled with smoke, shouting, gunfire. Thomas fought like a man with nothing to lose. Every blast of his shotgun a wall between the soldiers and the fleeing mother. His body ached, blood ran down his side, but he did not stop. Not now, not ever. And then, silence. The shots slowed. The guards on the wall did not fire. The soldiers hesitated, staring at the empty fields where Arya had vanished with her child. Thomas fell to one knee, chest heaving. He smiled faintly through blood and sweat. Arya and Leo were gone, alive, free for now. The leader soldier stepped forward, rifle raised. "You'll hang for this, Hale." Thomas lifted his head, eyes hard as stone. His voice came out rough but proud. "Maybe I will. But one day when that boy grows, when you see him again, you'll remember this. I was the first to say he belongs." The rifle pressed against his chest. The dog snarled one last time, and the sun rose higher, burning bright over a colony that had just witnessed the first crack in its walls of hate.